connected.
Hi everyone, this is Ananya Verma. I am here with Algo University co-founders conducting a webinar on building a great tech career. Here on behalf of IIIT Naya Raipur, I will be asking few questions regarding how to land a good paying job, how to build a career path in machine learning, and how to kickstart coding and gain high ratings in code forces or related coding platforms. Here I am with the co-founders of Algo University. One is Manas Verma and other one is Nikita Agrawal. I would like them to introduce them.
So, hey guys, this is Manas, and I'll quickly, briefly introduce myself, and we'll move on quickly towards the thing that you all came for. So, uh, I started programming when I was in school, and I was interested in coding and all. So, I was fortunate enough, lucky enough to to be able to explore coding during my high school, and that landed me an internship at DirectEye, and I went to DirectEye in when I was in class 12. And more recently, I worked in the field of quant trading, which is basically applying algorithms in finance. And I worked at AlphaGrep Singapore previously. So this is my brief. I'll pass on the introduction to Nikita.
Hi, I am a data scientist at Microsoft. I work in Bing, and my job is to use AI to make intelligent use of data to build great customer experiences. So, unlike Manas, I had no clue what coding is till I came to this college. And I, in fact, started serious coding in my third year only. And within 4 months, we had our internship drives. So I'm not going to give such a long introduction like him because I can't. Uh, but yeah, I was interested in data science. And I started data science in my third year only. That's it.
So, and yeah, guys, you can if you have any queries or something, you can just put it on the live chat besides you.
So let's begin with the questions, I guess. So Manas, I would like to ask you that what are the different job profiles and how are they different from each other?
Okay, so I'll briefly touch upon the job profiles that are offered at right after graduating from the college. Yeah, so the most popular obviously is software, which is called SDE or SWE. So that is one of the most evergreen job profile that you guys already know about. The other thing is site reliability or say production engineering. So these both terms are almost equivalent, but are it depends. Its definition is more dependent on the company. Production engineering in Facebook is more geared towards actual system administration and getting into the depth of DevOps. While SRE or the site reliability, the meaning in Google is geared more towards usual software. People, their whole process is just like a normal SDE, but they also eventually start contributing codes towards building up the infrastructure and the powerful infrastructure that they have at Google. So these are key differences, but the job profile in itself is pretty related. And there is third, which a lot of you guys told me that you are interested to get into it, which is getting into machine learning, data science, or data scientist. So that is why we have Nikita here who can speak more about that. So I'll leave that part for her to describe. And the fourth is something which very less people know about, which is quantitative trading or quantitative research. So that is basically algorithmic application in the finance domain. So this very less people know about because typically there are very few firms and there are very few openings, and these firms typically go to the old four IITs. So if you have friends there, you can ask them up. They specifically prepare for these kinds of roles. And the basic reason is that these are the highest paying job offers are in this sector, like 30 lakh, 50 lakh. Like this is the range where the jobs are offered. And I'm talking about base salary, the basic cash that you're going to get, not the complete overall CTC package. So my personal background, and this is what I explored. Instead of getting into Google, Facebook, or the likes of these companies, I decided to explore uh, this particular area more, because this was application of like a lot of mathematics, analysis, statistics, programming, and the peer group is like really really high potential. So most of the people have the best pedigree. The people who get into these kinds of jobs are like having the best pedigrees, the best J ranks, and then the best department ranks, and so on and on, world finalists and things like that. But if you have enough time, even people without those pedigrees can also get into these kinds of roles. But to be at a state that you can get into these, like you obviously first need to know about it first. So this is something that I'm going to touch upon in more depth in this upcoming questions.
So now moving on, I would like to ask Nikita questions regarding data science. What was your path to data scientist at Microsoft? Like how you land data scientist role at Microsoft?
So most of the companies, in fact, you can say all of the companies, they do not have data science jobs for BTech. In fact, you'll go online and check their career websites. BTech graduates are not even eligible to apply for data science jobs. They are looking for MS and PhD people only. So when you talk about me, so Microsoft came on campus and for BTech people, software engineering role was offered and data science role was offered for MTech people. I went through normal software engineering route only, gave coding contest and gave two normal coding rounds like every other software engineering job. And it was just at the end of my interview, I had a discussion with my interviewer that I'm working on a research paper in data science and I'm really interested in it. The interviewer was also a data scientist. So she asked me a couple of questions to know how much I understand it, and that basically landed me the job. The same thing was there for one other guy. During my time, actually, only two BTech graduates got data science jobs. All rest were MTechs. So that guy was from IIT Bombay, and it was the same for him. He was also working on a paper, and he also went through normal software engineering route only. But he also had a paper, so he got a data science job.
So basically, like you guys were able to convince them up after you joined the normal software interview, you signed up for that, and then like after the all the rounds had happened, then you approached the right set of people, correct?
Yes, exactly. Because as a BTech graduate, it is almost impossible to get a data science job.
At
It's
good companies, like
impossible.
I think mostly startups only hire.
Sorry.
Mostly startups only hire, but for good companies, like a lot of PhD and MS candidates apply. So
Yeah,
they typically keep that cut off.
and they prefer people from outside India, from Indian universities, Indian university and BTech. That is like you are on the lowest cadre for data science.
Cool.
So we go through software engineering path only.
Okay. Basically, next question I would like to ask is for example, in our college, mostly the companies which we are coming for placements are basically IT companies only. So please tell how a non-CS graduate can land a job in a good IT company and get better package, like how they will manage.
Got it. So like I'll clear up two things here. The first thing is like less than 5% of companies actually ask things like like OS or like database design or system level design. Very few companies, like less than 5% of the companies, ask these topics. Rest of the 95% companies just simply asks for they just try to test your coding abilities, and that is based mostly on data structures and algorithms. So even if you're a non-CS student, it does not matter as much. All you need to do as a non-CSE is you just need to have like 2 to 3 projects, which tells that like apart from coding also, like you actually have done some development or something, and that is fine. They're not going to drill you down on your those projects. They will like depending on companies, they're definitely going to like talk about it. But their major focus is going to be on your coding skills. And so that is good because as a CS graduate, we study a lot of subjects that we are never going to apply. And the interview process, like fortunately or unfortunately, so that it is like highly biased towards like the coding side of it and just the algorithms and data structures. So being like this limits up the like the kind of content that you need to grab up being from a non-CS background. So all you need to do is just like have 3 simple like good enough project which tells your interests actually lies in software engineering, and that can be covered quickly in 15 days or so. Like there are a lot of good resources on net, and like we can talk upon what kinds of projects are good, which catches the attention. Or you can just simply go to the some of the best people and just take up like what projects they have done, and you can just quickly wind it up in 15 to 20 days. Rest of the time you can just focus solely on your coding abilities and your improving your problem solving abilities. And for that, I think 3 to 4 months are like pretty much sufficient if you want to like get a good hold at the level of problems they ask in interviews. And this path is like pretty much same for like a CS graduate also. So like if you are in like say in earlier part of your college, like first year, second year, it is the right time to actually pick up the coding, because problem solving is a like a skill which by definition is limited. Like the kind of content, the topics are limited, but the problem solving skills, like ability to solve problems, is not so restrictive. So you can start right away from the first year, and that is still a perfect time. And but if you just want to gear it up and wind it up for interviews, last 4 months, even if you're in the final years of your like graduation, like you're nearing the placements, even then like 4 months are like going to be sufficient.
Okay, since you have talked about coding and you being a yellow rated coder in Codeforces, so can you please tell us how to become a good rated coder and improve uh, thinking skills like logical thinking skills so that we can improve our coding? And within the time limit, also the companies, the coding
Correct.
contests, which the company organize, they are time bounded. So how can we improve that, and how much time we require?
Correct. So like I'll break down the like the kind of time and like like what is like an ideal situation for you to be in. So typically an interview is like of 45 minutes, and in a single interview, technical interview, they're going to ask you 1 or 2 coding questions. So within those 45 minutes, like the interviewer is going to ask you a question. You need to ask him back few clarifying questions. And after that, once you both are on the same page, he's not going to tell you all the exact details of the questions, right? Like in the coding obligations, we have like, okay, limit on n is like, 10 to the power 5. So obviously we can't go for n square or something. So those all will be open-ended, and the interviewer is going to keep the question particularly vague, intentionally vague, and then you will have to clarify it. Once you both are on the same page with regards to the question, then you have to come up with like you need to solve it on pen and paper behind your head, and once you have solved it up, then you need to implement it up. Okay, and after implementing, he's going to ask you like like please explain your solution. Like he, depending on the interviewer, he might say that, hey, before going into implementation, let's discuss it. And maybe he will also ask you, cross question you on your code after you're done coding. And he will expect that you can do a few dry runs or few examples, so you will have to also do that. And after that he might want to, like, if he sees that you're too comfortable, or if he feels that you've already seen the question, he's going to go on and modify the question, make it harder, and then this process again will repeat. So the whole thing for this complete process is like just 45 minutes. So that is quite less. And that is why it is very, very important to work on your speed. Like how fast can you solve a problem and how fast can you implement a code with clarity. So to do that, I think like competitive programming is a very, very good tool. I did not start, I did not get into competitive programming thinking or knowing all of this. I just, it was just a leap of faith because I just saw it as another puzzle, like just Sudoku or something, some sort of puzzle just related to programming. So, and once I got into the like platforms like Codeforces, like I just got hooked. So, and the other thing, as you're talking about the rating and all, I think like it, like you should not much care about rating. Like when I got into the college in my first year, I got purple. That was like division 1, and I think like it was like a good rank overall in India in top 30, I think. But after that, I left competitive programming and I went into exploring machine learning, finance, and how things engineering actually works at scale. So I left competitive programming, but I used to give it like a few random coding rounds and all, and I fell from purple to blue, and I like really didn't care. If I didn't feel like it was my day, I would just leave the contest midway. So because like I think it is very important to have create a space for yourself to fail, because if you don't have that space to fail, your growth after a point, like you can optimize it on the short term, but you cannot actually maximize your effectivity or your potential in the long run. So I just say that do not care much, like no need to care much about the rating and all, uh, and just keep doing and just practicing and all. And having said that, despite that, having a good rating really helps you a lot. Because like I think like I got a lot of job like interview offers because like I had a good rating on Codeforces, like CodeChef and all. Like people are like the rating is not so stable. There are different formats and all, so like it is very volatile. So people and the quality of questions of Codeforces are like phenomenal. So a lot of companies, recruiters, they pay much more importance to Codeforces profile and all. And I think it was one of the significant reasons why a lot of recruiters reached out to me that, hey, we have an opening on like this company, and like, will you be interested? And and a lot of referrals also, like a lot of people whom I did not know before, like they were very, very happy, and they approached me that hey, this is the opening and we want to like I can give you, pass on the referral to you. So having a rating definitely helps you up, and it definitely helps you to stand away from the crowd. So rating is important, but while you're practicing, like no need to pay, like, or no need to make so and so goals that okay, like I'll like if it motivates you, it's fine. But as such, otherwise, like you need not care much about the rating. And the second aspect is that another differentiation I'll make is uh, like like as I was talking previously, 4 months is enough to become really good at interviewing and solving the problems, the level they ask in interviews. Same is not applicable for competitive programming, like getting great at competitive programming. Of course, it depends on your definition of like what is good and or not. But like I think it is much longer time commitment to get like say purple or yellow on Codeforces, or red, say for that matter. So, but the plus thing is that I when I was appearing for my interviews, I did not have to exclusively prepare for my interviews. because having done harder problems in the same domain, in the same subjects, these questions were like, my focus was more to how do I articulate and how do I improve my soft skills, while giving the interview, because these are also like really, really important. Particularly, especially important, like if you are applying for international job offers and like roles. So all in all, I think like competitive programming is like a very great tool that you should definitely explore. And if you have not registered or you're not regular at Code Forces, I will definitely strongly recommend you to register and start giving contests from now on.
I would like to add, like Manas said, having a good ratings at Code Forces or HackerRank and having good ranks in some good contest, it really helps you. It really helps you land an interview. But when we talk about an interview, actually having really good ranks or ratings, that does not help much, because the questions that they ask, they are more about your understanding part. For the interview, it is better that you take each topic and prepare on it. If you get a good understanding of the topic and you can solve questions up to a level in that topic, you need not be a red or yellow coder in that to solve interview problems. You just need to have uh, a certain level of understanding in them, and you should be able to express what you are thinking and how you are thinking.
Of
Definitely,
course.
having a great profile helps you get an interview. It really gives you a great edge. Like companies will be chasing after you if you have a great profile. But this that is still getting an interview. In interview, having a basic knowledge is
Yeah, like Nikhil is right about that. And so you need not be like great at competitive coding. Like you can just focus on like interviewing skills and you still will be fine. But like as I was talking initially, the 45 minutes breakdown for that component of speed is like, very difficult when you're preparing specifically for like, interviews, because that question is still not in that depth of comfort zone that it would be relative when if you have already done competitive programming. So if you have already done harder problems, then these problems like are kind of like very much in your comfort zone. So it also very much helps you to there. And of course, like if you solve the problems faster, if the interviewer sees that wow, this guy has coded up like say Dijkstra so smoothly without like making mistakes in such like just 10 minutes, that is obviously a plus that he's going to write down when he sends his review to the committee. So I think this question is already pretty much elaborate, and we have covered like enough things.
Yeah. And so basically, since you both talked about coding, importance of coding in getting into big MNCs. So I would like to ask Nikita, like how to get into Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and the other tier one companies. Like,
okay. So to get into any company, there are three things. First, building a good profile. Second, this profile will help you land an interview. To land an interview, profile and referral. Or there are some other ways also, but these are the major ways. This will help you get an interview. Second, get an interview. Third, of course, clear the interview. So let's talk one by one. How do you build a good profile? So you are a CS student or you are a non-CS student. This path is same for both of you. You should have 2 to 3 good CS projects. That is the one most important thing, so that they know that you are not a noob. You know something. You can, if given some new project to use, some new technology, you can work on it. And second, if you have participated in some good contest, gotten some great ranks, or have some great ratings, that is, of course, a really great plus. Like, I'll give you Manas's example. He cleared ICPC several times, and he also was in IOI TC. It is an international coding contest. So Director gave him an internship opportunity at the age of 17. He was the youngest there. So you can see how big an edge coding will give you. One of our co-founders, Swapnil, He's from ECE branch. He got a Google London job, and that was solely because of his coding profile. He also cleared ICPC and has a really good ratings on Codeforces, etc. So, of course, having a great rating, having good contest performances, that will give your profile a really great edge. So, profile is two things: projects and coding. Now, next thing is getting an interview. Getting an interview, there are two routes. One is through referral. You know someone in the company who can give you a referral. Generally, LinkedIn referrals don't work very well because many people approach them, and hence the quality of the referral degrades. Generally, it is better if you know someone personally. And another way is some good companies like Google, Facebook, they organize their own contests. And the people who perform well in a coding contest, they directly contact them. Like for Google, CodeJam, it's a very popular one. Similarly, Facebook has Hacker Cup. So that is another way. So after you get an interview, clearing an interview. So generally companies have two rounds and both of them are coding rounds only. 45 minutes each coding round, and in each coding round they ask you two maximum three coding questions, and what they intend is those coding questions are uh, between medium and hard, and they see how do you solve the questions, do you ask the right questions, what is your aptitude, given because there you will be solving real life problems in which everything is not well defined for you. It is required that you know what you are looking for and you find out those things yourself. So they give you questions in which you will need to ask like what are the constraints in it, or how much time should we solve it, or do we have space constraint, time constraint, like that. Like, can you ask the right questions? That is what they're looking for. So like that you will have two coding rounds of interviews, and in some companies there is one HR round also. That is not much. They are just seeing if you have can work in a team or not, and they'll ask you a little bit about the projects that you did.
Correct, but a lot of HR rounds are also pretty crucial. Like talking about coordination, like there is a first round itself is the HR round, first and the last round. And the first round, a lot of good people with good profiles, they are just like thrown away, like without getting into the interview part, or like, you know, they have just like Nikita was telling, Google's has CodeJam, Facebook HackerUp. Coordination also has its pretty famous Codegon. So even the people, like I know people who were in the top five ranks and they just got out, like they had all the right things, good CGPA, good pedigree from good old IIT, and they were still thrown out from the first round itself. So depending on the company, HR and your soft skills are going to matter. For a lot of companies like Google and all, they definitely have a exclusive Googliness round, but they have also when they train their interviewers, they also like train their people during the technical rounds. Also, they're going to comprehend your soft skills, like how are you going to collaborate with the person in your team, and so on. So they have very specific set of instructions like at Google that even if you're a tech interviewer, you need to evaluate, and you need to write up on how the soft skills of the person is. So there is one thing that you know the solution, you figured it out, you're a great problem solver. But the other thing is like how are you communicating it, and are you formally defining things so that you can talk about it properly and so on. So
Yeah, that thing is actually important. I know some people who are like great coders, but they got rejected in the first interview round, and that was because a question was asked to them and they directly solved it. They did not ask the right questions. They did not communicate their approach well to the interviewer. That is a very, very important thing in an interview, because the questions that they ask, they are not actually looking at the right solution. It is possible that you get selected even when you didn't solve the question, but because you asked the right questions and you presented yourself well. You can go ahead, Ananya.
Yeah. Basically, since we have covered all the coding related questions and also, I would like to ask Manas, like, what are the good paying companies and the startups like who pay well, like 30 to 50 lakhs companies, MNCs, big MNCs, and what are the good startups we can join as a freshie?
Correct. So here the thing is like I'll go back to the first answer that we were discussing upon. Like in tech, the basic compensation how they offer you is something structured like this. Like they will tell you the complete CTC, and that CTC is going to include like your bonus and your stocks and your base salary. So base salary is essentially what you're going to get at the end of the year. Rest of it, a huge component is like reserved as a stocks, and these stocks you're not going to get it right away in your first year. It is the cumulative sum for all the 4 years. So let's say if they say like like they're going to offer you 50 lakh CTC, and if they keep 30 lakh CTC for like or 35 lakh CTC for like the part of CTC is just stock, pure stock. So what they're going to do is they have their own vesting schedule. So in the first year, they're going to say vest only 5% of that 35 lakh. The next year, they're going to vest another 15%. And then the next year, if you're still going to stay in that company, then they're going to release another 25% and so on. So like this is the usual compensation that they talk about in tech. So like you should not get misled by a lot of newspaper or the media articles. They're not as high as they say. So I think some of the top paying companies in within the tech itself is like DShaw and Direct Eye, Coordination, Uber. Like Coordination, they were offering like 24 lakh base salary. So you will be getting approximately 2 lakh per month on your hand to spend. And typically there are the companies like Amazon and all, they have huge total CTC, but their base salary is also like around 13 lakh. So what they get is like slightly less than 1 lakh per month, the actual cash that they are able to cash it away to their homes. So these are the differences. And the contrastingly, I told you about Coordination, they pay you like almost double of that. So this is for the tech, and so very similar is for like data science and the production or site reliability. Site reliability in few places they pay slightly more than software, but it's not like too much. Uh, One sector that actually pays you like heavily is the quant side, which I was talking about in beginning, and so what their structure does not involves like it is like completely different from like how a tech offer is rolled out. Their structure is divided into three things. First thing is the base salary. The second thing is the guaranteed bonus, and the third thing is performance bonus. So let's say your algorithm is like working amazing, so they are going to give you some percentage on your guaranteed bonus. So they are going to say like, hey Manas, your like code is working amazing, let's give you 200% on your guaranteed bonus. So the guaranteed, even if if you just do the crappiest work and you just manage to stay in company, base plus guaranteed bonus is what you take home. And that base plus bonus is like that actually lies in like 30 lakh to 50 lakh. The company I was in, like that typically pays within India around 50 lakhs. And there are a few more companies like Tower Research whose compensation like that varies a lot from college to college. They are a bit biased towards colleges. So like a good offer from a typical old top 4 IT is like 35 lakh base and a 10 lakh guaranteed bonus. And in 2 to 3 years, the bonus components like overrides your actual base. So you can actually get into quant roles and actually mint up like up to 80 lakh, 90 lakh, or even a crore, depending on how you're performing there. within just like 2 years or 3 years span. So this is like the overall thing, and the thing is like startups tend to pay slightly more in the for a freshie. But if you move up the ladders on the big MNCs, then only your actual takeaway home salary gets incremented. Otherwise, like even in tech, there's not a lot of money relative to the other branches. Of course, it is, but like typically what we tend to hear that 50 lakh, 40 lakh, that's not true for tech. I think like I'll give you a few more figures. Uh, One more company that I had gone to was Palantir London. That pays around 100 k or 1 lakh to 1 lakh 30,000 pound, and that is also like a tech company, and that pays highest in like London. And comparatively, Google London and Facebook London, they pay typically around 60,000 to 70,000 pound. So like and within India also, like these are the like most of the big MNCs, they pay around the base salary of like around like 13 to 16 lakh. So that's like up to you. Like you can decide up according to your interest and your wants. And if you are in like say second year or first year, I think you can pick up anything, and you have enough time to build up anything. If you want to get into quant side of roles and actually make this kind of money, uh, you should have absolutely good credentials, because credentials here matter a lot. Like number one reason for me that I got into interviewed for a quant position at AlphaGraph was that I had a good background at maths. I had qualified for RMO, so that was a plus, and I had gone to the INMO TC. And the second plus was like my rating at that point of time was like good, and being yellow rated at Code Forces also helped me to actually get that interview, which typically it is hard for anybody outside from the top four IITs. Like if you talk about my team, like all the people were like top 50 ranked, they had all great CGPAs, they were like all the ideal pedigrees, and my CGPA was also like really really crappy. So like to overcome that, these were the things that I needed to shine across and separate myself from the crowd. So if you're in first or second year, you can definitely plan for getting into the quant roles.
Here, since we have talked about the coding and how to land MNCs and startups and machine learning thing, so I would like to ask Nikita, like, what is the best time to start the preparation, and like how long will it take to start? How long will it take to get good good get good at coding skills and get into a
Yeah.
good company?
So I think I'm the right person to ask this question to. So I started my coding in third year only, and see, when you're preparing for an interview, what do you need to do? There are many topics in competitive programming that you need to prepare. You need to understand, practice, and then you need to learn how to actually express yourself and build some good projects. So regardless of you do not have any idea about coding, or you have done some coding, given 10 contests or 5-10 contests, something like that, it will take you around 5 to 6 months to be prepared to get a Google job.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes. So, since we have talked about the time duration and all, so Manas, tell about like how you landed a foreign internship, yeah, foreign job, like something.
Yeah. So I think like most of the reasons like we have already covered during our discussions. Uh, there were two like apart from that, another important thing was like if there are people vouching for you, then you can like like for Nikita, like she got a role which was not formally opened in some like something like a role of data scientist, which was not open for undergrads. So that is the thing. Like if you can get somebody vouching for you on your behalf, there are a lot of things which we think that is not possible, but the tech world is quite flexible. You just need to you just need to be clear about how do you make that part for yourself. And like coming directly to your answer, there's nothing much different for like getting an international job or bagging a good offer within the like India. The only thing is that the competition outside is more, because they have to take care of extra things like your travel to the on-site interviews and like your visa issues. So these particularly limits a lot of their capacity of what they can the candidates that they can look into. So the only thing that helps like specifically for international jobs is like your ability and your credentials to differentiate yourself away from the crowd. So like for myself, that was mostly through a lot of these coding profiles, and like as we have previously already discussed. And the other thing is the other thing I would like to add up is about probability. So the thing is even like I strongly believe that 4 months is a good enough time that you can actually get into a good job. But the only question is that when we talk about you clearing an interview, what is the probability of that? So when you're doing it for 4 months, then probably you cannot, like there might be kinds of places, kinds of topics which you might not be having such a built a good strong intuition behind it. So you can definitely, because interview process in my opinion is quite flawed. Like 45 minutes is like really less to judge if person is a good fit or not. Typically for full time, like 4 interviews are like 4 to 5 interviews are taken, but still that is a very small brief period and there is a very limited interaction to judge a person upon. So you can still get make your probability like 70%, 60%, 80%, depending on how much you practiced in those 4 months. That I was talking about, getting into competitive and building a really strong grasp that not only helps you to maximize your probability, like say 90-95% probability. Of course there will always be element of luck. If like your interviewer is like really fussy, best of luck. So those kinds of things are always going to be there. You cannot make it 100%, but you can definitely make it close to 99%. So for that, competitive programming helps you to get those skills that you can reflect back in your interviews. And the second thing is that also helps you at the same point of time differentiate between yourself and the crowd. And the third thing, that how it helps the longer preparation and the ideal competitive path or journey is like these kinds of contests like Google Code Jam or Facebook Hacker Cup, Cordegan, all these kinds of Johnsons, these kinds of contests are like much tougher than the typical interview problems, and they're like pure competitive programming problems. So these are the external avenues that get opened for you, and a lot of people are going to vouch for you. So like whether it be an international opportunity or something, like this is the thing that I think will streamline your process and like maximize your probability to get one. And another less talked thing about is international is like every company, when it comes to international, they are very stringent about the time of application when you actually submit. You can be great on paper, like you can have a really good strong profile, but if you're not applying on the right time, and that right time is like very low, because number of applications are so high that when it gets started, it gets closed. Like last year for like Facebook, it was typically like you start from August and till the next month, in 2 months it was all over. So if you're really good and you're applying for software in November, like you stand no chance of getting called. So you need to be like very stringent about that one extra thing. And it varies for every single company. So you just need to be like, like really be like, aware about all of that. And this year, the COVID is also going to like, bring a lot of changes in those timelines and schedules. So
More these contests like Code Jam, Hacker Earth, or sorry, Hacker Cup, and on Hacker Rank, Hacker Earth, you will find a lot of company contests. You should keep giving them. If you get a good rank in them, not only that company, other companies also they contact you themselves to give you a job. For example, if you get a good rank in Google Code Jam, Google will contact you every year, keep asking you to join them and give an interview. So these contests are really important.
Correct. And like just to add example, like Nikita had like one of the through one of the hacker ranks she had like I don't remember which one was that, but she had qualified for like to the finals in Amsterdam. So that was also a great plus to show herself separate from the crowd. That she got invited to like on-site finals at Amsterdam, and she had like I think first or third rank. So that even in your resume that looks like sparkling, and it like helps to differentiate that okay, if they're inviting, they're paying for your flight to Amsterdam. It obviously like implicitly tells that yeah, it was a high-profile competition, not your typical neighborhood hackathon or something. So if you do like good at these, you can like just uh, take them and put them in your resumes as stars. And recruiters like love to see these kinds of data points, because a lot of people, recruiters are non-technical people. They like if you tell about some complex machine learning problem, they'll be just like spending 1 second to read the title and then skip on. So these are the kinds of data points that are really, really attractive for the recruiter. And he knows, like, he can be confident that, okay, if I'm calling this candidate, if she's getting to, like, say, Amsterdam or something, I'm probably making a right decision. It's a right call.
In fact, you generally the companies that hire abroad you look for good competitive people who have given great contests and they pay for your ticket to come over there. They pay for your stay. They give you food and everything. You basically have to pay nothing. You get a free foreign trip, and that will cost them around 1 lakh, 2 lakh
Depends
around.
on the country, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
depends on the
but it's
country.
a noticeable amount.
Yeah, so it shows how much they value a competition rank. They are willing to spend that much only to interview a candidate.
Yeah. So they can, like, fly you all over to London and still turn you down and then say, like, okay, this is not what we thought you are.
I
So, like,
spent 10 days in London on Palantir interview. On
so
this.
basic, So yeah, basically the whole point is companies have a lot of money and they are willing to spend. The only thing is like how do you like portray yourself? And like when I say portraying, it typically means like not actually like on paper. How can you give recruiters strong data points so that they know that you are their guy, that they want to spend tons of money on, and they like really treat you like really nice, all the five-star hotels, luxury. So people have a lot of money in tech and they want to hire a lot of people. The only bottleneck is that they don't get enough candidate like who can like who portrays themselves in the right fashion. Even when you're like presenting your resume or something, try to quantify each and everything. Like if you made some research work or something, try to quantify that to the previous benchmark. It was an improvement over space or time or whatever by this much percent. If you got a coding rank on, like a lot of people write that like they got purple on code forces or yellow on code forces, that's not enough. Recruiter does not knows, he does not understand what code forces or your technical jargon is. So just quantify that okay, you're like top 15 in India as per these platforms, and in all over the world you're in like 0.01%. So quantification data points like these like become even more important when you're considering international jobs or internship offers.
Not even an interview, all the jobs, your resume in any job. Your HR is not a technical person, therefore you need numbers. You need something they understand.
Correct. And I think we can finish or wind up the session. I'll just take up one more thing that I was discussing with you earlier previously about the lockdown and the scenario. Like, how are the jobs going to get affected and all? So obviously, lockdown has like a very strong negative impact right now all over across the sections. But the good thing is that the tech sector is least affected. But despite that, a lot of good companies, like from our previous pilot batch that we were teaching, like there were people who got Facebook London internship, uh, 3 to 4 people from our side. They got their offers retracted, so that's just like cancelled, and they're now looking for new internships and new jobs. Similarly, it's like Uber has cancelled all their job offers. Same is for the Tower Research and so on. So right now there is a lot of commotion, and in recent future it is only going to increase because recession is going to hit up more, and people are trying to save up their more money because nobody really knows how long this pandemic is going to go on. So the best thing is you have got time to prepare. And the worst thing is you're going to face even stiffer competition. Like the top cream of the crowd used to usually go outside India, right? Now, going outside of India is practically impossible. I think only Amazon, Berlin, and a few companies in Singapore have been offering right now, and they are not further interviewing for off campus outside the India offshore jobs. So all those cream is going to trickle back into your competition directly, and even the people the top people like going to the top companies within India like Uber, Tower Research, they are also getting cut off from their offers. So they are also in the very same bus that you are going to ride. So you will have a stronger competition. Like it's like unlucky for batch of 2020, but it is like the scenario that you are going to have stronger competition, a lot stronger competition, and much less number of good jobs that are going to be offered to you. A lot of startups like have closed down, and so like number of jobs are definitely getting reduced and all. But the good thing I would like to highlight is you have got a delay on when the timeline of people companies usually start hiring from August. Few companies will continue to hire from August, but for a lot of them the timeline is going to get delayed by a few months. And that few months you have got a great scope to teach yourself, make yourself better, irrespective of whatever your level is. Like the given time is enough to start from very basics, build it through, and if you do it your preparations in a very systematic fashion, you can complete a whole of your preparations like starting from very low till the very end, where you can have a good probability of cracking an interview. So just make this good, very effective time of this holidays, like or whatever you want to call it, and like don't let whatever events are happening go against you. Like try to ride the wave, utilize this extra time, and make your algorithms, data structures, and coding skills like really strong.
And actually, cracking is not difficult. It's a very systematic process. You have complete directions to do it. You have to do some good projects. You have to practice some topics. You have to basically practice it and develop a good communication skills. It's a very systematic process you have to follow. And if you follow it, it is not very difficult to get a good job.
Correct, but that systematic process not so open for everyone, right? Like everybody have like do not get all the right resources and lined up. There are good websites and there are good materials like that are adding up on websites, but still like there's like not a single place where you can just hop on and go on systematically. So obviously it is going to be a bumpy ride, but it's like it can be fun like if you approach it correctly. And the only point like I'll try to like just reiterate is utilize this particular vacation and maximize your problem solving skills.
And I guess we have covered all the questions. But basically, we have left a basic one which students generally ask in college, like
Mhm.
how does CGPA affect
Okay, so
job?
I'll take this.
very pressing question, and I think I'll love to answer this one. So my CGPA, like I don't remember, but I think it's like around 5 point something. I
Yeah,
think 5 point.
a CGPA of 5 point something in Triple IT Hyderabad is quite different from normal like college.
No,
So
no, no. I'll just specify that more. Like relatively, it's like very, very strictly, strongly, or whatever most negative word you want to use. Getting less than 5 is like impossible. Like even with the best efforts, you can't go below 5 or something. So if you're attending the classes, you're not like getting grade drops. Like 6 plus is very achievable in triple IT without working hard at all. So like 5.5 or something, like the range I was in, like there are not a lot of people there also. So matlab, the second thing is like of course there are few companies that you're going to get affected, because a lot of on-campus placement companies, they do tend to keep like 7 CGPA as like typical cutoff. Like just to throw more light, my company AlphaGrab, they had, when they initially approached our campus, they came for not for the quant role, they actually came for software role, because they typically hire quant role only from the top 3 IITs, Bombay and Kharagpur and Delhi. And they what the minimum CGPA that they their first say was like, let's put like please placement cell put the minimum cutoff as 9 pointer. And so things like this happen. So I will not just say that like CGPA does not matter at all. It like if you have 7 plus, it's fine, but it is not going to work out like a person is going to say, hey, this guy is 9.5, like that's amazing. Let's like go for it. A lot of time, even the Google on campus like are biased for the like CGPA aspect, but in general, 7 plus is good enough. And if you have less than 7, just don't put it on your resume, and you will still be fine. For the off campus, no company is going to care about like what is your CGPA. They won't even have a field in the form that what is your CGPA. Like none of the companies like that I have applied to like ever even cared to ask me like what was your CGPA. The only thing, like I discussed my CGPA at AlphaGrab when I was interviewing, but that was typically because like I applied for off campus, and I just told that like I'm only interested for quant trading side of the role. So they were like like, why didn't you apply through campus? And through the campus they had already shortlisted 4 people, and they had already conducted 2 or 3 rounds. So at the end of the day, what like mattered was like I was able to deliver it to the company, that the kind of skill set and the work that you are going to like need, uh, like I'm a very strong candidate for that particular thing. Of course, if you want to like go for CGP and stuff, I'm not your guy. And it turned out that from the on campus they ended up selecting nobody from triple IT, and I was the only guy that they chose, like despite their initial like 9 cutoff, and me having like just inverse CGPA, and all the people they had shortlisted were like 9.5, and my CGPA was like 5.9 something, like just reciprocal. So the point is like to understand, companies use it as a like elimination process, so that they have a very small capacity to interview, so they use it like that. But if you can like make out a way to like to tell them that you're the right candidate, if you do it in a right manner, it's not going to matter. And if you have a weak CGP, you can cover it through like all these coding competitions and all these kinds of stuffs. And they not just cover it up, but they also actually help you stand out. Because and another thing that why it does not matter for off-campus jobs is comparing a triple IT Hyderabad's CGPA with another guy at different college makes no sense, because they can have different rigor in their academic schedule and all. So that does not make sense. So they don't care about it. As I told, they see CGPA as an elimination process. They also know correlation between CGPA and like what a person can bring, the value they can bring to the table is not like so strongly correlated. So for the off-campus, instead of CGPA, they use they utilize coding competitions like as a eliminator process. And I think like if you are going for good companies, like off campus are the best shot. Like you cannot just rely on your campus placements and expect to get a good first job. And getting a first good job is extremely important. Why? Not because let's say if you are in not so good company, you're making 10 lakh or something, and you are in a good company, you're going to make 24 lakh, 26 lakh. Like I'm talking just within the tech to tech. So here the difference of 14 lakh is not going to be as great as the kind of peers that you're going to have, because 5 years down the lane, uh, like right now for the freshies, they advertise the openings that okay, we are going to hire. They even have a strong pipeline to hire people. They have their recruiters. They hire recruiters, campus recruiters. They have a whole pipeline. But for the senior roles, it is not so. Like a lot of companies, like good companies, have opening, and it gets filled up very fast without people even knowing it up. So if you have you get into strong a good company with strong peers in as your first job, you can make a great set of friends, because if you get into more job and all, professionalism gets increased and all. So you can make good network, and these networks are going to help you down 5 to 10 years down the lane. People often do not think much about these kinds of stuffs, but these kinds of stuffs can actually make your career as a linear progression or exponential one. So this particular thing helps there. And the second part is it saves you time. Like if you see even the not so glamorous jobs like at Infosys, TCS, or things like companies like that, people from there also 20 years down the lane, 30 years down the lane, few people's rise up to good positions at Google and all. So rising up is not a problem, but the problem is you will have to put more number of years and much more effort as your counterpart who is having a good first job. So switching and all and everything is good and possible. It's not the end of the world, but it is going to save you a heck lot of hard work and years of time. So coming back to original question that you asked for the CGPA, it is going to matter for on campus, but the best jobs out there are hiring off campus. So if you want to go there and get the best job, nobody is going to stop you, and your CGPA is not going to come in between your way if you're good at algo, DS, and coding.
In fact, in campus also, CGPA is just elimination, not selection. They just
Yeah.
put off of 7. After that, it doesn't matter your CGPA is 7 or 10. You're same.
Okay. Yep. Fair enough. Basically, we have covered all the questions. I would like to ask the students if they have any further questions, they can ask them in the live comment section, and the team members from Algo University can reply them.
Sure, and thanks for hosting us.
Yeah, thank you, Ananya.
Thank you, you both. Thank you both for guiding us, for providing us with the proper guidance. Um, yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, I actually was looking forward to it, because I was originally from Raipur, so, and I was also we both are from Triple IT Hyderabad, so that is sibling and sibling sister universities, whatever you want to call, and the hometown also is same, so it was like I wanted to do this from quite a long time.
Yes. And if since we already know more, if we already know about Manas, about you, Manas, and Nikita. So let us know more about the startup culture and the startup Algo University, which you both are the co-founders of. So
Right.
is basic, what basically it does, and what we can get benefit out of it.
Okay, so basically, like what we had done was like how it started. Like I'll begin from there. So basically, like we were doing it from the last year. Like I'm a dual degree. Like I was a dual degree student, so my coursework was already long done, and like I had a lot of free time. So basically, what I did was like we already have programming club and all, but we didn't had any specific thing for interview or things like that. So what I did was like I picked up I started a pilot batch right within the Triple IT Hyderabad itself. So we had a batch of around 20 people, and we actually trained the people like gearing it towards their interview preparation. And like a lot of people like chilled out their college life, and now placements and everything is like encircling you.
Happens quite.
Yeah, more often than it should. So basically we picked up people like that, and we just tested our abilities getting good at competitive and all, and then actually being able to deliver it to the people in short span of time. So that was the like kind of test that I was trying to put myself through. And I think like we had a very strong results, people going to Facebook, and they also got international job offers from Singapore and all. So the feedback was very like really great, and that actually gave us confidence to actually get out of triple IT and expand to like different colleges and help people out there, because they will need it more than like people from our college and all. So so that is why that gave me immense confidence, and fundamentally like I liked programming and all, and I liked teaching a lot. So I decided to pursue this thing full time. So I turned down like my 50 lakh job, and like 50 lakh, not CTC one, the base quant as we discussed so far. So I turned it down, and I got into this like Algo University full time. My parents still think that I've gone crazy and all, but I think I'm like pretty clear about this thing that like in the long term, this is the place where I will want to be at. Like even if I'm earning less or something, it's like secondary. Uh, like, and I'll tell you like the exactly like things that gave me more drive. Like we have already started here our batch of 15 people from IT Bhilai from last month, and we have already been training them for 1 to 1.5 months. And people like there were sessions that I took, and people were messaging me that, hey sir, I was able to solve on Code Forces D level problem, and one of the guys even messaged me that they were able to solve E level problem for the first time in their life, and the kind of happiness which they were telling. So these are, I think, like underrated aspects, and this is what I think one thing that I love about this particular uh, area of education. And I had also started another education-based startup when I was in my second year. So overall, I like staying in this particular field, and this is what motivated us. And I then teamed up with Nikita, Swapnil, and Vaibhav, who have all done great in their particular tracks. Like Nikita was one of the two data scientists. Vaibhav got offers from both Facebook London, Google Munich. Swapnil was having a background at electronics, and then he able to get a good offer from Google London. And similarly for Kritika, she was able to do good systematic preparation and get into Google and IBM. So we made up a team of and we have structured our like whole course, the whole curriculum such that we can uh, deliver maximum value in like very short month of like 4 months. So like our official program is like of 6 months where we teach each and everything. Like that is a mix of slight competitive programming also, and but still keeping a laser sharp focus on interview preparation. So that particular whole preparation, and then getting the students referrals, because I talk to more people from your college and more people in IT Bhilai and all. The awareness level and the lack of a strong alumni, that like even there are few good people here also, but they're not able to like land up in interview itself. So we'll be arranging for all those interviews, and we'll be taking mock interviews for them to how to present and the importance of soft skills and all those kinds of stuff. So all in all, like our focus is to get you the best off-campus jobs and internships. And of course, like it is also open for first year, second year people, because these skills, like as you were asking about the ideal time to start, these are the skills that even a high school student can pick up very easily. So the earlier you start, the better like our chances that you get better at this particular thing. So you can still, like we still are open for them to like for them to learn algorithms and all these problem solving skills. And for the third year, fourth year, we take care of each and everything about like whatever stands between them and their so-called dream jobs. So this is overall that we have covered in our thing, and we'll be starting another batch by the end of this month.
So, my motivation to join was that I have actually faced this situation that you're a few months away from internship or placement drives, and you know nothing. You don't know how to get a job, what to do, where to go. You have no direction, no clue, no help, nothing. So I myself have faced that, and that is a very scary situation. You have parental pressure, your own expectations, you're gonna get a job or not, what is gonna happen to my life. So that is a lot to deal with. So we are here to help you because we ourselves have gone through that. We know in what direction you should go, what you should do. We can provide you that mentorship that you need so that you don't feel lost, that they, there is somewhere you can look uh, who can guide you and basically help you get over that fear and train you to get a good job.
And I think she has a like a thing for teaching also. All throughout the college, she was teaching random people, and she was also like I don't know, Asha Kiran,
In my
right?
school.
Yeah, even she was teaching school kids and all like.
Okay.
So like it's overall a good fit, and even the other two co-founders, like they have a knack of teaching. Like Vaibhav was teaching assistant almost like every semester. He was taking every time new course, and he was also like top notch at like getting the good CGPAs 9+ or something. And Swapnil also had a passion for teaching. He was teaching for more than year and a half. He was actually teaching in Talent Sprint, where he used to help people to train for interviews specifically. So a lot of students under him have like from different colleges other than like the pilot batch of Triple IT. A lot of different colleges they have gone to likes of Google, Uber, and got international job offers after getting trained under him. So all of four of us, like it was a really good match, and it was like the natural next step for us because all of us shared that common thing for teaching and like trickling down like whatever we know, and through after like pilot batch and getting the good results, that was like a really strong boost of confidence for ourselves also, that the kind of things that we have prepared is actually helpful, and we were able to see the results firsthand. So I think that is what motivated me, and that made my decision like really easy to like leave job and get into this full time.
Okay, so
We've actually seen people how they performed in our initial contests and how they are performing now. The increase in their coding abilities, we have seen it ourselves, and that brings confidence in you, a lot confidence when you're able to solve div 2D problems.
Yeah, like I gave you diff to D and E problems. This is from the like IT Bhilai batch, our first batch itself. So there were people like in like 1.5 months, like there were few particular topics that we made them like learn like really well. So those questions were from that topic. So yeah, overall like this is it, I think.
Okay, so I guess we are done now. Like
Yep.
completed all the questions, and like if anyone wants to ask the questions, they can uh,
Like
contact.
yeah, they can contact us, not a problem. Sure.
Yeah, then.
Okay then.
Thank
Let's.
you. It was a great session.
Uh,
That students are going to tell you like are not the best person to judge. We can only hope.